This is the Impressions Exchange Podcast. Where all topics impacting the graphic imaging and printing industry are addressed via in-depth news coverage, analysis, and timely interviews.
Welcome to the Impressions Exchange Podcast. I'm Ashley Roberts, Content Director of Printing Impressions. And with me today, I have two guests. Pete Kowalczuk, Executive Vice President of Canon U.S.A., and Dina Kessler, President of Kessler Creative, based in Jacksonville, Florida. In this episode, we are going to discuss Canon's initiative to merge across the Americas and its growth trajectory and focus on service. And we're going to hear from Dina, who will be able to give us a customer's perspective on growth and her company's partnership with Canon. So thank you both for joining me. We're looking forward to a very exciting conversation. So Pete, Canon recently announced its new initiative to merge resources across the Americas and significantly invest in production print. So what can you tell us about this new strategy and tell us, why now and why, what value do you see it offering customers?
Sure. We did just recently announce a restructuring. We're now Canon America's production team. The goal of the team and the overall realignment is to really garner all the expertise that we've had in the U.S. We've done a tremendous job in the U.S. to really get involved with inkjet and be the number one market share leader in inkjet. And now we need to continue to reinvest across Canada and Latin America and Mexico to make sure that we're supporting our customer base across the whole Americas. We have customers in the U.S. that have locations in Latin America or Canada. We have customers in Latin America and Canada have locations in the U.S. So we have to make sure that we're delivering upon that. But as importantly, it's really taking advantage of the significant investment that Canon has made in their own technology, in our new technology. We are launching 3 brand new technologies into the market this year. The IX1700, the IV7, and the Colorado XL, all designed, research and development. Every component of that product was designed by Canon, and we're launching those products. So we have to make sure that we could monetize the investment that Canon has made and take care of the customers in not only our current customers, but also take care of future customers that those machines apply to. B2 device, our very first B2 device with IV7. That's a new customer base that we have not been playing in. So we have to make sure that we're dealing and developing an organization that could deliver to them. So that is really the key of the whole reorganization, is to make sure that we're scalable, make sure that we're delivering our services, our professional services, our break-fix services, and our technology to our current customers and our expanding customer base.
Wonderful. Thank you. So what does the integration look like in practice for customers?
So from a customer perspective, probably a little bit quiet, but behind the scenes, we are now making sure that we're getting the best-in-class services from a systems perspective, make sure we're stabilizing across all of the countries that make up Canon Americas to make sure that they're all well-trained on every product that we sell. We could provide professional services to every organization. So those customers now have best-in-class, whether they're in the U.S., Canada, Brazil, Mexico, it doesn't matter. They will have best-in-class support.
I think this is a really, what you've just told us, it's a clear indication that Canon sees strong growth potential in production print. So Dina, from your perspective as a production printer, how has the industry shifted over the past several years? And where are you seeing the most meaningful growth opportunities today?
One of the biggest shifts we've seen is clients wanting to personalize, what their communications. And so the updated technology and the equipment is so important to us to make sure that we're able to provide that. Throughout a print run, you're able to use variable pieces, components, whether it's images or verbiage, picking up from, whether it's a postcard or a letter, letters can change out paragraphs throughout based on who the customer is. And so 2 things are important with that, right? Is it's not just the printing capability and the speed of it, it's also the processing. So sometimes what you see too with equipment is you might have certain equipment that, you can do variable, right? But if the processing capability with the equipment isn't compatible, now you're limited to what you can actually output in those files. So I think one thing that's really unique with the equipment that we have is we have that capability to really personalize to the recipient, because that's what our customers care most about today. Before you take this back, right, 15, 20 years ago, there wasn't that kind of variable to the level it is today and that capability. And so you were dealing with a bigger spend, right? So it was more, the personalization was really just in like the front of the letter or on the postcard, the address capability. But today you can offer shorter runs, quicker, response to the recipient, and customers love that. So their focus, their spend, what we're seeing, the spend is not different in their marketing communications, but they're able to reach more people with that personalized information. And so, we're able to go to market much quicker with it.
So it sounds like, because of the capabilities of your digital technology, customer demand has kind of changed, or, their expectations. Can you maybe talk about that? How, these new capabilities have changed what customers expect from print?
Yeah. The thing is, when you work with your customers individually, you understand what they're trying to accomplish, right? So the expectation today for sure is they want to talk to their customers, right? They want to communicate to the specific recipient. They don't want to just blast out, right? The days of massive runs and the spray and pray, as they always said, is not the target today. So we have a lot more targeted direct mail opportunities that we're using, again, whether it's postcards or letter capabilities, that they're really communicating to that final customer and directly to them. And again, throughout a run, it can be very different who their customer is, but we can change out the communication to target to who their recipient is. So I think that's really the conversation today with our clients, is more about, we want to talk to our end consumer individually. We don't want to just blast out, whether it's 100,000 run or 50,000 run. We want that final recipient to be who we're communicating with. And it might be the printed piece in conjunction with the direct mail or the digital component. And so how you speak to the recipient is what our customers care about today. And so when we're working with them on a project, a marketing campaign, it's talking through the campaign itself and who not just the general audience is, but the final recipient.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously you mentioned that, your new capabilities or your new technology has enabled you to be able to provide these things to customers. So what were some of the specific investments that accelerated your transition to where you are today?
I feel like we're constantly reinvesting. You either reinvest or, I hate to say, you might be left behind. And we've seen a lot of that in the last 10 years as, I don't want to say the market's gotten smaller, but by any means, but you definitely have a lot less companies out producing what we produce. And again, it's because if you're willing to put the investment in, the one thing that's important is to understand what your customer base is. So for us, again, we're always talking to our clients. Where are you at today? Where are you trying to grow your business? And what does that mean? Is it more direct mail? Is it letters? Are we talking branding pieces out there? So understanding what our capability needs to be to match our current client, and then we can scale that to when we're prospecting to other customers. So we've been investing a lot in our print technology. We have been from the early start 20 years ago with our business. And then on the flip side is the bindery that is compatible with that. So whether it's our booklet maker, finishing equipment, or it's, we just installed a high-speed inserter to match our letter capability. So it's just along the way, it's always investing. We're always looking at what's the next target, and you can't worry about today. We have to worry about, just like Canon's worrying about, what they're creating today to put out to market, right? It's not something that happens in a short window. It's a long-term look ahead, right? And so we have to do the same thing for our customers. I can't worry about what I'm producing today. I have to have those conversations with customers that say, okay, what you're doing today, where do you see your market in 3 years from now? And let's talk about the future and what we're doing so that I'm planning ahead for our investing as well.
So kind of on that topic of investing and kind of, being where customers need you and evolving and adapting, when you look at your operation, which applications are delivering the strongest ROI for you? Is it transactional print, direct mail? Which areas are you seeing that strongest ROI?
For us, it's our marketing. It's the marketing direct mail. So that's our biggest growth. And then our second growth, I would say, is in our short run booklets, whether it's perfect bound booklets or saddle stitch, mostly perfect bound. And again, that comes from, say, a customer has 30 locations throughout the U.S. And we'll just say something like a training manual that before they would go to print in mass, right? We have to plan ahead for our training for the next year or two. Well, today they're like, we're just worried about the next couple of months, because we know that you can produce those training manuals quickly, per location, and then we don't have to produce as much like today for the next year. So those are our two biggest growths that we're seeing, but definitely direct mail and the marketing capacity.
Great. Thank you. So Pete, I'm going to move over to you for a minute. So as your customers grow and expand geographically, many now operating across multiple regions or even nationally, how has Canon evolved its operational and service model to support businesses that are no longer confined to a single location?
Well, we do a lot, but let me step back for a second with Dina's comments, because we've been on that scaling journey with Dina and Kessler Creative, which has been exciting to watch their journey and how they've grown, and to be able to fulfill their needs as far as product goes every step of the way that they've been able to grow. So not only are we looking to grow geographically, but to continue our journeys with our current customers, to grow with them as they expand and they change. And Dina and her husband have done a great job in changing their business and growing their business in new opportunities. And that's our goal. So now our goal is to grow with our customers as they expand their business, as they need new technologies, but also as they expand across the country to take advantage of postal costs and things like that. So we're doing it both ways. We're growing with our customers and we're growing across the region. So from across the region perspective, as our customers grow, and we could take advantage of it for our current customers too, we have to become better at how we deliver our services. We have to create standardized workflows. We have to make sure that they're working hand in hand with not only the print technology, but now the finishing technology. The finishing technology is now being put in line. So we have really great partners that we work with to make sure the full line is operational and expanding correctly. We have to make sure we have connected systems and we have centralized oversight. So data coming out of these systems is massive. We got a lot of data coming out. But how do you get to all that data? A human being can't get to it. So this little thing called AI is starting to play a very big factor in how we are able to take care of our customers, so that we could not only have physical capacity to deliver break fix or professional services on site, but also provide digital infrastructure that supports them from behind the scenes also. That gives us the ability to scale very quickly across not only the U.S., but throughout the other regions in the Americas.
You touched on this a little bit, how you have standardized workflows and processes, but how important is consistency in both output and service at scale?
Extremely important. I mean, that's what our customers are selling. Our customers expect consistency in the print, the quality of the print, especially as these inkjet devices are getting more involved with high-end graphics print. That consistency is extremely important. So making sure that not only the technology is up to date, but if there's an issue, remember, everyone has to remember, these are mechanical products. They do have issues, but making sure that we have a very trained organization that could go out and do the break fix as quickly as possible to get our customers back up and running, providing the best print quality they can to their customers.
Mm-hmm. Are there any challenges in executing all of that?
Oh yeah, there's always challenges. There's lots of challenges. Obviously, getting time is now precious. What used to be easy to say we'll be there tomorrow no longer is the case. Their customers, our demands are becoming more demanding from their customers. So getting there on time. Labor infrastructure is always critical. Training them as these products become more complex. We have to provide much better training to our employees, but we're also challenging, and our customers are asking us to get them more involved in servicing and supporting their own product through preventive maintenance, maybe better key operator training. So we have established a brand new training program down in our Boca Raton CIC that is focused on 3 levels of service training for our clients, making sure that whether it's better key operator training, all the way through them taking over and servicing their own products and making sure that they have the infrastructure behind the scenes to support them with help desk technology, 7x24 and things like that, because our customers want to be more involved in their business. They're hiring better people. They're getting better people on site that they could take over some of this break fix, and the equipment is becoming better from that perspective too. So this partnership now with our customer base is becoming more dynamic, and it's giving them more uptime and better quality for their customers.
Perfect. Thank you. So Dina, I'm going to come back to you. Something that I talk with print service providers about all the time are that, in a production environment, deadlines are tight, volumes are high, expectations, are changing and evolving. So I'm wondering, how do you think about uptime, and what does reliability mean in your day-to-day operations?
It's true. Like today, we are under really tight SLAs, right? So it's no longer, I think about 20 years ago when, and I'll say this, a piece of what got us to start Kessler Creative was because we were getting really frustrated. We were outsourcing a lot of work in a previous company that we had, and we kept hearing the 10 to 12 day turnaround. And it was people would laugh at you if you said that today, but some people still say that. Some vendors still say that. Well, we built our business on not saying that. And so when we started Kessler, that was important to us, is to get the turnaround quicker. What it was 20 years ago to what it is today. I mean, we have clients that, they're dealing with competitive impacts. So you're responding to your market. You can't wait 5 days to get something out, right? So you need it in the mail tomorrow. We need to respond now. How quick can you turn this around? And so with that said, if I don't have a vendor and not a vendor, a partner that understands that together, we have to get this product out the door tomorrow and I'm down, that doesn't fly, right? So our relationship with Canon, we have been very fortunate. We have never, we've always experienced fabulous service. It is part of what keeps us a partner with Canon, is because we know that we can trust their team, to say hey, we've got this happening in the next couple of weeks. Here's what's going on. And I will say that our service team is constantly in communication with our production management team, always talking through what's happening. And the specialty that we've seen is they're proactive. So, and our team doesn't have to ask for it. They'll come in and they'll be like, all right, we're here to service this piece, but we see this and this need to be replaced in the next couple of days or in next week to prevent you from being down, because we see all the workload. We're going to get this done now. That's the communication we have. Or they'll say, we know this component has to be, we got to bring the machine down for 3 hours, next week to get this replaced. What do you where do you see us fitting that in? And they'll work out a schedule that works for us and our clients and take care of it. So the communication is excellent for us. I can't have a machine down for a day. It just doesn't work. So, and Canon understands that. Their service team understands that. They make sure that we're taken care of. So for us, it's huge. It's a great partnership.
Right. So of course, you just, touched on some of the impacts of unexpected downtime. Does it also, impact customer trust? When something's down and you can't get them the job in the time that you promised them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that goes without saying, right? But especially because for us, again, we talk about Canon and the vendors that are really part of our inner business and every day-to-day working, those are partners to us, right? They're not vendors, they're partners. The same with our clients. They consider us an extension of their company. And so if we don't deliver on time and it impacts, a sale that they were going to have, and all of a sudden now the postcards or the letters are hitting late, yeah, I mean, we have to answer to that, right? We had a sales set for this weekend. You didn't deliver on time, or it hit almost the day before. That's not enough notice for our customers. Yeah. It's you've breached that, and they're probably going to start looking. It may not be today, but you better expect that if you haven't rectified it pretty quickly, that they're going to start looking. So, and that's the last thing we want. We work way too hard to take care of our clients to all of a sudden start, turning over customers.
Of course. Absolutely. So Pete, building on that, how is Canon investing in service infrastructure, training, and support to ensure that customers can maintain, continuous operations and avoid these disruptions that we just talked about, especially in kind of this always on production environment?
Yeah, constant communication. I mean, I think from Dina's perspective, we need to have constant communication with our clients. We know the pressure they're under, and we need to make sure, we don't want to lose their trust because they lose their customers lose trust in them. So we have to make sure that they can always put their best foot forward. So I think the biggest area that we've been very much investing in is that predictive analytics, the predictive service technologies, as Tina was talking about, so that we could predict and know when parts are going to go out. That's the problem. When you have a break fix problem in the middle of a large run, that's when the issue happens. If you could predict it, and you could then call Dina's operations folks and say, hey, okay, we know that this part is going to go out, or you're going to see an issue. We'd like to schedule a PM call, or we'd like to schedule a call. They can then work their hours, their jobs around that call, and that helps them continue to support their customers. So that's one of the biggest area, and the AI area is going to help us continue to foster better preventive maintenance, better service and training of our customers, key operators, so they could do some basic PMs themselves. It helps us also. But the biggest issue is always reinvesting in remote diagnostics, data, making sure that information is available to our customers, expanding our customer training and so on. But data is the key to all of it, and being very proactive with our customers, especially knowing when their big jobs are coming in, their peak times, and making sure that we're in tune with them and available to them when they need us.
Perfect. So when you take a step back and look at Canon's overall approach to service and production print, what fundamentally differentiates your model from everyone else?
Yeah, I think each of our competitors takes maybe a different approach to it. I don't know, don't know exactly every approach that they're taking. We just try to focus on our approach. Our approach is to be very proactive. Our approach is to be customer centric. Are we perfect at all times? No, we're not perfect at all times. But the one thing that I can guarantee is that when we have any kind of issues, that we're going to be there, and we're going to respond, and we're going to invest in making sure that we respond correctly for our customers. Again, training and development of our technicians, our technical staff, not only from a break fix perspective. These are very, very complex solutions when they're in place. They're running at very high speeds and trying to put out extremely good print quality. So these technicians have to really understand their business, but then we back them up with help desk that they could use to support them when they're in front of a customer to make sure that they expedite the service call. We have professional services organization that does that from a systems perspective, because again, all these devices accept data from our customers, so we have to make sure that data is being transferred correctly. So they have the face of our organization is the service tech that's in front of our customer's product when it's down. But behind the scenes is a whole infrastructure from data analytics, analysts, specialists that can support them in break fix, and professional services that can support them from a systems perspective. And all they have to do is reach out by their phone or their computer, and they have access to all those folks. So again, it's the whole team that is behind them that supports that technician in making sure that they take care of our customers.
Yeah. So it sounds like, a lot of this has been really in response to the needs of the customers, and in turn, also their customers needing faster turnarounds and needing that reliability and consistency. So can you maybe, a little bit of a case study here. What does it look like for customers like Dina?
What does it look like for customers like Dina? So again, I think Dina pointed out that we're working with her operations team. We're being proactive. We're setting scheduled calls. We're also taking an approach, what we call a complete call. So as she was describing, we'll go in. Our technicians is inside a machine. They have a lot of diagnostics that they're looking at, and they're looking at that diagnostics, and they know that a part is at a certain level of its life expectancy. So instead of waiting till that part completely dies, that technician has been given the authority to make that decision on site to replace that part in order to prevent a future call that's maybe 2 or 3 days away, right? Obviously, there's criteria around it, but they're empowered to make those decisions on site. So that gives peace of mind to her operations folks that they're not going to have to make another call in 2 days because the machine's down again. So those are, the subtleties of it. And I think we take it for granted what we do because we do it so often, but that's the goal, is to make sure that the machine is not a problem for our clients. And again, this is a machine breakdown. Yes, a machine breaks down. It's how quickly we get it up and running, how few calls the customer can get is our goal when we look at it. And I think from a customer perspective, they can depend on that uptime when they're talking to their customers and they're trying to pitch their turnaround time for their customers.
Right. So coming back to Dina, you mentioned earlier that Canon is a true partner, not just a vendor. So from your perspective, what differentiates that true technology partner versus a vendor in today's production print landscape? And where have you seen that difference in practice?
So over the years, like with Canon, it's always been a communication of, let's talk about what current equipment we have right now. Where is its lifespan? What current jobs? What's your workflow look like? Like they will come in and spend a half day. Let's talk through your jobs. Let's whiteboard this. Let's talk about, what you're currently doing. And again, like what we know our clients are looking to do. Because when you talk about updating your equipment and replacing, do you need to stay with status quo, just the next model up? Or do you need to talk about the next level, right? And so we've done a couple of these sessions. And for me, that's the partnership. It's not just the service team, it's the sales team. And it's talking through like, what is our workflow? What are we trying to do? What do our clients need us to do? So I have very much appreciated that over the years. And again, like you do not get that with all your other vendors, right? So for us, and we have different equipment. We have different equipment with different companies, not many on the print side, but the ones that we do, the difference is I won't hear from that sales team on the other side until like maybe 6 months before my lease is up on that piece of equipment. And then they want to come in and talk. And so the only one I'll see for 4 years is the service team. And again, not that that's, a bad thing, but it is when your partners know that you're growing and you're continue to grow, and they see the clicks and they see that, how much work volume is coming out of your building, and they're talking with you through it. And Pete, if it's okay, I'm going to share the story about the ProStream. So a couple of years back, we were looking at our equipment, same conversations, and the sales rep, we were talking through it. Here's all the volume that we have currently, and here's all the different pieces of equipment. And my goal's been for quite a while to consolidate, because we have a lot of different equipment, and our main press has been coming out of life cycle for quite a while. And I knew we had to do something. And quite frankly, for us, when I look at all my work, most of my work is digital, is variable. So it doesn't fit for my press. And so we had the conversation probably 2-3 years ago, and Canon actually came back in and they were direct, and they were like, based on your volume right now, we don't feel good about selling you a ProStream. We think we're going to do you a disservice. Your volume's not quite there. Here's where your volume needs to be. When you get there, we're here for you, and we're going to help you with that ProStream. But right now, we don't feel comfortable. And it was a gut punch. Like, at first I was like, what did you just say to me? Like, you're telling me no? Like, wow. And then I thought about it, and I was like, that's probably the best thing they could have done for us, because financially we really weren't. It would have been a hardship. Today, that's not the case. Obviously, we're in the process of installing ProStream, and I have a ton of volume for it, but it was real. That's a partner. They're not just out to sell you anything. They're out for a long-term relationship that's solid for both of you. And on the other piece of that is, they'll come in again when they talk through the jobs and the workflow. They'll say, like, what's your current software you're using? Let's talk about the other component of that. How are we going to get the files ready for the machines? And so we'll talk through what we currently are doing and how we're doing it. They'll come back in and say, here are some ideas that we have for you. That's a partner. They care about the future, not just for themselves, but they care about it from our perspective as the customer. So that's been great. And Pete, I forgive you.
I love that story. No, I love that story, because it shows that, they're looking out for you. And it's mutually beneficial too, to make sure that you are strong and doing things that are right for you as a company. So love that. Sure. Thank you for sharing. Pete, something that we talk about a lot, reporting on the industry, is the future of the industry and the talent gap, and, kind of focusing on workforce development in the next generation. So as we look to the future, the industry is continuing to talk about this. Can you tell us about the Boca Raton training facility and how Canon is helping address this challenge?
So no apologies needed, Dina. We kept to our word on that, and we look forward to growing with the ProStream. So from a Boca Raton perspective, the Boca Raton facility really is dealing with several different things. It's obviously our big innovation center, where we show all our new technologies and so on, but it is also where we do all of our training for all of our technicians, our system support personnel. We have products that they could go and evaluate and use if customers' machines are down. They have to test things. So that facility is there. We just built out a brand new facility within Boca that is designed for customer training. And again, going back to, from a customer training, it's either very high-end key operator training, or it's in the middle. It's a segment that allows their key operators to become more in tune with the product, can actually do some low-level preventive maintenance on the product. So if the machine goes down at 2 a.m. in the morning, they could still put a service call in, but they could get their machine up and running before a service tech shows up in 2 or 3 hours from that perspective. Or they could go all in if they want. And we have a number of customers who have decided to do this. They have the technical expertise on their staff to go all in and service their own products. So we train those customers from doing that. But in addition to that, we use our facility for our customer event association called Think. And during Think, we do a lot of information sharing where customers are actually sharing with each other. And we talk about talent gap. We talk about it seems mundane, but when you're changing your facility, what it takes, because we have a lot of people that have gone through the bad things that happen with electrical power being brought in, building, and so on. So they share each other's information. So someone that's relatively new to the industry or maybe taking over the next generation, they don't necessarily have to do it alone. They get to understand what's going on. They get to meet new folks that they could partner with. A lot of our customers are now friends with other customers, and they work together and they share best practices from that perspective. So Boca becomes that epicenter for all of that. But again, we're making sure that not only our customers are up to speed with everything, but we're constantly upgrading and training our own personnel from a technical skills perspective, a workflow perspective. We're bringing new products. So we're constantly training. And again, Boca Raton is the epicenter, not only for our own talent, but our customers' talent.
Right. Wonderful. Very excited to maybe visit one day and
you're always welcome.
You're always welcome. That. Yeah. So, final question here, and I'm going to ask you both this question, but we'll stick with you, Pete, right now. As digital print continues to evolve and customer expectations rise, what do you see as the biggest opportunity and also the biggest challenge for production printers over, say, the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I think from what we're seeing is digital is becoming bigger and bigger every day. As presses become too complex. Again, talk about talent gap. There's nobody training on how to work on presses and so on. Variable data, as Dina talked about, customers are demanding more variable data. Small runs all point to digital. All these things all point to the need for digital, and digital becomes bigger and faster every day. Canon, again, has made some significant investments, not only in high speed inkjet, but also large format inkjet with hybrid, the Colorado XL coming out. But our first endeavor into B2, we know that that's a big space in this industry, and we have to be a player there for us to continue to support our customers' needs. We want to continue the relationship, just like with Kessler, that if a client needs a B2 device and they have everything else from Canon, they also could look at Canon for that B2 device. So I think as we go along, those applications, high quality, high speed applications, are all critical, and we're going to fill each of those gaps, and we're going to make sure that we fulfill it long term. Also, we're taking our platform technology, our platform of like the IV7 and the ProStream and the IX 1700, and now we're going to move into packaging and label printing. So those are also brand new areas of expansion for Canon, using our platform, just enhancing the platform to fit the needs of packaging and label. But again, data driven, making sure we could do great variable data. Print quality is extremely important, and we're going to continue to work on that workflow also. So those are some of the things that I see happening in the future. But high speed, high grade of print quality is going to be key.
Right. Thank you for that. And Dina, what do you see as the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge for production printers over the next couple of years?
So I think when I'd say one of the challenges for sure is on the team aspect, right? And it's really great to see the equipment evolve today to where it is more, it's easier to teach somebody new coming into the industry, right? You have a lot more user-friendly equipment that we're bringing in and installing. And that's a key component for us when we're looking at investments, is what's the ease of training somebody on that equipment. So again, it definitely, like, what can we do quicker in the building, more efficiently, and streamlining everything we do to go to market for our clients quicker. I think that's a big challenge as we constantly go. I think we've been focused on that for a while, so we feel ready for it. And then I think the biggest focus we're going to see, especially from marketing mail perspective, is what I talked about a little bit earlier, is it's just speaking to the end user, right? Whether it's the printed piece and it communicates to them and it resonates with them because, it brings up products that speak to them and what they want to purchase. And the same, so it's more targeted toward that audience. And then the same is adding the digital components to it and making sure that they all speak to that end user together. So it's whether you're targeting, IP targeting before the mail hits and then after the mail hits, but it's also the final consumer. So someone goes into a store today and buys this, and then we're targeting back the mail piece to thank them for their purchase with trying to keep them to be a continual loyal customer within that brand. That's a big focus in marketing mail is building that loyal base. And how do we do that with whether it's letter mailing, postcard mailing, and then adding in digital components that all run as one omnichannel campaign.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Dina, Pete, for joining me today and talking about the future and growth and your experiences. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ashley.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ashley. Appreciate it.
I want to thank Pete and Dina for joining me on today's episode and all of you, our listeners. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Impressions Exchange podcast.